The Dallas Mavericks have made some roster moves ahead of opening night and ahead of their final preseason game as we're getting closer and closer to Mavericks hoops being back. Harrison Graham, Jeffrey Cooperstein here with you to break down the news. Let's start with the three players that they have cut, and then we'll get to the signing in just a few moments. Dallas has moved on from Mike Miles Jr., Joe Wieskamp, and Jelly Walker ahead of the final preseason game. Coop, what is your instant reaction to these exits here?
Yeah, Joe Wieskamp and Jelly Walker, I never expected to make the roster or anything like that. They were just guys to kind of fill training camp bodies. I will say, I am intrigued by the cut of Mike Miles Jr. He didn't play in the preseason. He was dealing with an injury. He was on a two-way contract, and it seemed like the Mavs really liked him, but I guess that showed the opposite this preseason when he didn't get any playing time. That was interesting because I think Miles does have NBA skills, especially as a scorer goes. So that one is a little puzzling to me.
Yeah, the only thing I can really point to here, Coop, and we've talked about this a lot, is that they just have too many guards. So, maybe the Mavericks just looked at this and said, okay, he's always going to have limitations because he's only 6'1", 6'2". Defense will probably be a challenge for him in the NBA. And he's like our 6th or 7th best guard, and realistically, he's not going to play for the big club this year. We feel like we can get him to sign with Frisco anyway. Let's just free up that spot. Now, does he sign elsewhere on a two-way? I think he's worthy of that in the NBA. I think I do agree. I think he's got scoring NBA upside. Now, I'm not saying he's ever going to be anything special, but I am a little bit bummed out of this or by this one. I mean, a lot of you guys know I did go to TCU, so I watched him a lot. So there is some bias there from my end, but I thought on a two-way contract it made a lot of sense. Put him down in Frisco to play a lot, and if there are injuries that can pop up, I think he can at least check into an NBA game and not look completely lost out there. But obviously the Mavs disagreed.
And I also think he's a guy that can eat in the G League as well. I mean, he's a guy that...
I hope they get him back to Frisco.
Yeah, that would be awesome if they could get him back to Frisco and have him under their watch and still playing in the Mavericks system and whatnot. So something to monitor. We'll see what happens with Mike Miles Jr. in the future. But I did want to shout out Josh Mazur here. He broke this news, and no one was really looking at this at all. And Mike Miles Jr. was waived. Now, the Mavs have not signed Dexter Dennis yet to a guaranteed deal as far as we know. So we'll keep you updated on that. But shout out and credit where credit is due to Mr. Mazur there.
Yeah, and I do think Dennis could be someone they sign. We saw him play in the Real Madrid game, so
and he was decent. I mean, he's a good defender.
He's got more size. I think that's another thing with the Miles, and even if you want to lump in Jelly Walker, is they're both fun scoring type of players, but they're not going to give you size and defense. So maybe that's what they want to value with some of these two-way contracts.
Yeah, and the Mavs did make a move, though. They signed guard Taze Moore, this also from Josh Mazur. He played at Cal State Bakersfield before transferring to Houston, where he was a standout there, averaging 10 points for almost 5 rebounds a game, 3 assists in 36 games. And he did play with the Legends last year. I believe he played on the Mavericks Summer League team as well. So the Mavs did make a signing. He's going to play in this final preseason game on Friday against the Detroit Pistons, and we'll see what happens with Mr. Taze Moore.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him in the Summer League. We'll see what he brings to the table. This is a two-way deal, right, for Taze, or is that unofficial yet?
I think it's unofficial.
We don't know yet? Okay, so, yeah, I mean, look, we'll see what he can bring to the table. Clearly, I think they're valuing someone that they've evaluated for a year now, as he played in Frisco last year as well, like we mentioned. So, we'll see where that goes with him. We'll see where it goes for the cut players. For the record, too, I'd like to see Jelly Walker in Frisco, too. I think he's a guy
awesome. Look,
to evaluate further if you can, if no one else signs him.
Yeah, Jelly Walker's a guy that kind of like Mike Miles, who can light up the score sheet in a hurry. So I'd like to see those two guys in Frisco kind of playing off each other and see what they can do down there.
Now, let us know when, teams sign a player that you may or may not have heard of. I'm always curious to test the knowledge of the fan base. Have you heard of Taze Moore before today? I'll be honest, I do not remember him playing in Frisco last year. Type Y for yes, you have. Type N for no, you have not. Welcome Taze Moore to Dallas. He is the newest member of the Maverick. Be honest with us, though. Let us know if you have heard of him before today or not. Maybe, just maybe, you can get some Taze Moore prize picks in. Probably not. You want to focus on the bigger names for that. Daily Fantasy Sports Prize Picks, the best app out there. Be sure to get started with Prize Picks today at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use our code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100. put in 100, they'll give you 100 for free. It's a hell of a deal. And the way Prize Picks works is very simple. You can pick anywhere from 2 to 6 players and whether they will go for more or less than their Prize Picks projection. For example, we got season-long projections here. Luka Doncic, I took the more on his points. I took less on Kyrie's points. I think Luka's going to carry a heavier load. That's why I went with that there. Although, after watching some preseason games, I think Kyrie's going to have to score a lot too. So we'll see how that plays out. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. You can win up to 25 times your earnings if you do a 6-player entry. Again, that 2-player entry, you just win 3 times your earning, but still a good deal. 10 to win 30, 20 to win 60, whatever the case may be. You're not playing against pros, sharks, other players. It's just you versus the projections. It's very easy. That is the goal for Prize Picks, to simplify it for you. PrizePicks.com/CLNS to get started. Use code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. All right, let's talk more roster discussion here. Not in terms of who's in, who's out, but Derrick Jones could be in the starting 5, which I don't know what to make of that, Coop. I like what I saw from Derrick Jones in the game against Real Madrid. I do think he gives you some size on the wing, some athleticism for sure, some decent defense. But if he's starting,
it's a problem, right?
That's probably not good, right?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, shout out to Derrick Jones for taking advantage of his opportunity that he was presented with and playing himself into the rotation. However, if he's starting next to Grant Williams, that tells me Josh Green has taken a step back, not a step forward. And it also tells me Omax isn't ready. And I think both of those are true. So I'll let you read what Marc Stein had to say about this, and then we'll react to it.
Yeah, because I do have a couple other thoughts as well. But here's Stein first. He says, Olivier-Maxence Prosper does not appear ready for such a primetime role, and fourth-year Mavs Swingman Josh Green has not seized the spot either. Derrick Jones Jr. signed by the Mavericks to a minimum deal in August, played himself into contention for the starting berth. So getting that from Stein, that would appear to be the case, that those two guys aren't doing at least what's to be expected, at least in Josh Green's case more so. With Omax, look, he's a rookie. You know, it takes guys longer than others. We get all that. But this is kind of what we've talked about all offseason with Josh Green. And I'll say this, I'm glad they haven't given him that extension. I mean, he's got to go out and earn it, Coop.
No, I agree. Yeah, this is kind of what we've been talking about. Are we sure we're ready to give Josh Green 4 years and $60 million? I know I'm not.
No.
And this kind of validates that, where if Josh Green was the player that he thinks he is and everyone else thinks he is, he would be a knocked-on starter in pen, not in pencil. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. The fact that this is still a competition for this position is kind of, sounding alarm bells off in my head.
And it's not like, it'd be one thing if Omax has come in and is lighting it up. It's like, he's just too good
That'd be good.
Start. It's Derrick Jones.
Who you signed in August to a minimum contract.
And listen, this is not a slight on Derrick Jones. I thought what I saw in the preseason, he should be in the rotation based on what we've seen, but that's an indictment on Josh Green, man. Like that is not a good look. And I actually thought Josh Green played okay in the Real Madrid game, but they must not like what they've seen otherwise. They must not think he's taken a step forward in his game, and that's not good, man, because, we've already talked about the issues at center. Now you're talking about problems on the wing. Luka and Kyrie are only going to be able to do so much.
Agreed.
Are they going to have to average 75 points a game between the two of them? You're in trouble, man, if you don't find some other players that can step up and give you quality play.
More on this in a minute, but be sure to subscribe to the channel. 9 days away from the regular season, the Mavs versus Victor Wembanyama, who might go for 20 and 20 against the Mavericks.
It might be historic from Wemby opening night.
But we'll be covering the Mavs all season long, so stay tuned to us and be sure to hit that sub button if you haven't already.
And we will do a live watch party for the Mavericks season opener against San Antonio. So time is now, baby.
Let's go.
Before they start stacking losses, which we're worried about, let's positive vibes as we go into opening night. But yeah, man, I have concerns, Coop. You were kind of starting to say it last week. I was kind of remaining half glass full. But the
alarm bells are going off, man. There's not a lot going right now. It's kind of where I'm at.
Obviously, Luka and Kyrie were always expected to carry the heavy load.
Yeah.
But first of all, they're both banged up. And second of all, you can't win with just two guards that can score. Somebody else has to do something.
And who is that somebody going to be? I don't know.
Real question, who's their third best player?
It's Grant Williams, right? It's a question. I don't know.
I mean, and is that even a good thing? Like,
yeah, it's
I
either
like
Grant Williams or Josh Green.
I like the move, but like,
is it Tim Hardaway still?
Maybe. Like,
it's not good, man. Look, and
Dude.
the options at wing, I still think Josh Green is going to end up getting the start on opening night, but the fact that Derrick Jones is even in contention for this is sounding off alarm bells and warnings in my head.
dude, they might be in trouble, man.
They might be in trouble. We'll see. But who do you guys think should start? Do you think it's Josh Green, Max Prosper, or Derrick Jones? Type their jersey numbers down in the comments and let us know. I think it's Josh Green, so I'm still going to type my 8, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got some others in there.
I mean, I'll say this too. Like, you really need, like, based on where we're at right now, you need Jaden Hardy and or Tim Hardaway to be, like, really good off the bench. Like, really good.
Really good.
Like, you can't afford your bench unit is going to have to be good. Like, I think the starting 5 is going to be, like, when you look at box score plus minuses this year, I think to start out games, you're going to be in the minus a lot.
Yeah,
like,
I'd agree.
You look, Luka and Kyrie, they're going to score the basketball, but, like, starting 5s for other teams they're going to beat you up, especially in the paint.
And you need Tim and Hardy to be good. Well, number one, I'm not sure Tim Hardaway is mentally all the way there with the Mavericks right now, considering what happened this offseason.
Do you just start him at this point? Like, just to get him in a good place?
Maybe do you put him at that 3 spot?
Just because you don't, like, and I hate that idea because he's not a good defender, and you're punting
on defense.
You're going to have to outscore people, but, like, at this point, like, you don't have a clear option at the small forward position. You don't have a clear number 3 best player on this team. Like, if you just want him more happy and engaged, do you just start him? Like,
more questions than answers with this team right now, man. And being 9 days away from opening night, that is not a good thing.
That's a concern. He's Jeffrey Cooperstein. I'm Harrison Graham. Hopefully better things to talk about moving forward. Hey, hopefully they just crush the Spurs on opening night and we can feel good about things. But it's not looking great. He's Coop. I'm Harry. YouTube.com/MavsTV. We'll see you soon.